has been predictably defiant, with a senior official, Mohammed al-Baghaiti, saying the attacks would only increase the Yemeni people's determination to show their support for Gaza. This was the 8th round of airstrikes against the Houthis. It's unlikely to be the last.
Beijing has urged diplomats at the United Nations to be constructive and non-politicized ahead of a meeting in Geneva to scrutinize China's human rights record. It's the first examination of Beijing's actions since the UN published a highly critical report suggesting China's treatment of its Uyghur Muslim community in Xinjiang province could constitute crimes against humanity. The Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman, Wang Wenbin, said Beijing welcomed the review.
The Chinese government attaches high importance to this review and will participate with an open and candid attitude and communicate with all sides for mutual learning and joint progress.
Ukraine's interior minister says overnight Russian missile strikes in different parts of the country have killed 5 people and injured at least 40 more. Ihor Klemenko said that according to preliminary information, 3 people had died and 30 others were wounded in the northeastern city of Kharkiv. The other 2 deaths were in Kiev and the city of Pavlograd. BBC News. 20 people are now known to have died in the landslide that hit the Chinese province of Yunnan on Monday. About 20 are still missing, but rescue efforts have reportedly been hampered by unstable soil. Officials in northeastern India say a military plane from Myanmar has skidded off a runway, injuring at least 6 people. The plane had been dispatched by the Burmese authorities to collect the last of the almost 300 soldiers who'd crossed into the Indian border state of Mizoram following attacks by rebels. The Philippines president says his government won't cooperate with the International Criminal Court's investigation into the violent anti-narcotics campaign carried out by his predecessor. Ferdinand Marcos Jr. said he'd ordered agencies not to assist ICC representatives as they investigate the anti-drugs campaign by Rodrigo Duterte. Here's Jonathan Head.
For any country, it's a sort of a humiliation, because in effect what the International Criminal Court is saying is we have to investigate what they believe are potential crimes against humanity because your own courts can't or won't do it. And so that bristles in most countries, and it certainly does in the Philippines. So to some degree, President Marcos is playing to the gallery by saying we won't let these outsiders come and interfere in our judicial system. But it's a bit more complicated than that, because the Philippines withdrew from the International Criminal Court under Rodrigo Duterte precisely because these investigations started.
A police station in South Korea has been raided by provincial investigators in connection with the death of the actor Lee Sung-kyun. Mr. Lee, best known for his role in the Oscar-winning film Parasite, died in an apparent suicide days after a 3rd round of intense questioning by police over alleged drugs use. He'd denied wrongdoing. Investigators searched the police station in the city of Incheon amid suspicions that officers had leaked details of Mr. Lee's appearances at the station to the media. BBC News.
Hello and welcome to the Arts Hour on the BBC World Service. I'm Nikki Beattie, bringing you a show full of film, an array of artists, glittering guests and cultural companionship with the best global arts and culture conversation from across the BBC. Coming up on today's show, my conversation with the American filmmaker and double Oscar winner Alexander Payne. We talk about his latest film, The Holdovers, which I loved. The British actor David Oyelowo on moving from in front of the camera to behind the scenes in order to gain more creative control, and Barbie director Greta Gerwig on not being allowed the doll as a child and now being recognised on the street because of them. That's not all though. My guests on today's show are the filmmaker and architect Kibwe Tavares. We'll be talking about his film, The Kitchen, which he co-directed with Daniel Kaluuya later in the show. And we're joined by the writer and journalist Hannah Strong as our cultural critic. Amongst her many achievements, she's written a book about the work of filmmaker Sofia Coppola. Before we go any further, do you both have a cultural highlight that you want to recommend? Hannah, I'll begin with you.
Yes, so my cultural highlight is Annie Baker's play Infinite Life, which was at the National Theatre in London, and it was in New York before that, and I think it is probably going to go on to be touring across hopefully the world. It's a wonderful play about a group of women who are at a pain management retreat in Northern California, and that doesn't sound particularly uplifting. But
Sounds
I found
very Californian.
very Californian. The whole thing is they have to fast. They're only allowed to drink water or juice to cleanse their bodies of the toxins. So it's very sort of new age, and you're kind of watching it with this kind of creeping, uncomfortable feeling of, are these women being duped? That is like real life. It's a wonderful, wonderful play. It made me cry, it made me laugh, all the things you want from a play.
Thank you. What a great recommendation. Kibwe, what about you?
And me, I recently, in the States in LA, I went to a Jean-Michel Basquiat exhibition, which was curated by his family, and it was really all about sort of like charting his life from his like childhood drawings, you know, the drawings he used to do in his exercise books at school, and it's really created really from the perspective of sort of the inside as opposed to necessarily like the pieces that became famous.
Yes.
There is some of that, but then you sort of like a period for his life, follow him to New York, and it's just sort of a really immersive exhibition, and I don't know if it's going to tour or not, but I do like his approach to just sort of like the truth and honesty in which he approaches things.
Thank you both so much. First then, I'm a big fan of American filmmaker Alexander Payne's work. He's made 8 movies to date. They include Election, starring Reese Witherspoon, About Schmidt, which won Jack Nicholson many awards, the brilliant Sideways, starring Paul Giamatti, his beautiful black and white film Nebraska, The Descendants, starring George Clooney, and now he brings us The Holdovers. By the way, he also won Best Adapted Screenplay Oscars for Sideways and The Descendants. The Holdovers is a gorgeous, moving and funny drama. It's set in 1970s Massachusetts, with the story taking place at an elite boys' boarding school, Barton College, during the school's Christmas break. A grumpy, cranky and old-fashioned classics teacher, played superbly by the outstanding Paul Giamatti, is assigned to watch over a handful of students who won't be returning home to their families for the holidays, and they include the talented, troubled and unruly Angus, the first film role for newcomer Dominic Sessa. The two start out as adversaries, but gradually form an ad hoc family with the school's cook, Divine Joy Randolph, over the Christmas break. Well, I see all 3 of them as broken at the beginning of the film, but gluing each other back together by the end, and they all have heartbreaking reasons for staying behind on campus. From the moment the film began, I was back in the 1970s. There are retro-style title cards for the companies who produced the film. There are scratches on the actual film and sounds in the audio that harken back to an older decade. So we're transported to an era some of us know and others will feel that past. When Alexander Payne spoke to the Arts Hour, because he made me feel like the film had been made in the 1970s, including the language, I asked him how important that aesthetic was.
Well, very important. I mean, if I set out to emulate a film, you know, not only set in 1970, but that seemingly was made in 1970, then yeah, it was very, my collaborators and I put a lot of attention on getting the little details right. Not only
will you give us an example of one of the details?
The quality of the photographed image, the production design, the costume, the selection of extras, the making sure all the extras had the right hair, the cars, but beyond that, those superficial aspects, I'm pleased that you singled out the language. And I think when I hear language, I think about the texture of the film in general, and the type of the rhythms of storytelling back then, and of course the primacy of character over plot.
Did you recommend any references for the cast to see and listen to in terms of the way that they spoke and the dialogue that they were using?
Not really specifically, Nikki, like you should speak like this or sound like this. No, but I did screen for my behind the camera creative collaborators and myself, and for Paul and particularly Dominic Sessa, the young man who plays the student in the film. He had never seen a 70s movie. I mean, maybe Star Wars or something, but not like one of those character-driven things. So, yeah, I screened The Graduate, 2 or 3 Hal Ashby movies from the period, The Landlord, The Last Detail, Harold and Maude, Clute, Paper Moon, Nashville. Not that we're trying to emulate any single one of those films, but simply to splash around in films of the period.
Paul Giamatti plays the grumpy, curmudgeonly, emotionally closed man who is softened or starts to understand himself, at least, via another person's reactions and relationship with him. That is such a well-worn trope, yet he in no way felt cliched. Was that all in the writing? Was it in his performance? How did you achieve that?
One could accuse this film of having a traditional screenplay and maybe dealing in some archetypes we've seen before, but Louis Armstrong used to say, it's not what you do, it's the way how you do it. And I don't, as long as look, I'm interested in classical filmmaking. And my collaborators are too, but to do it, to bend it in our own way, and you were asking really about Paul Giamatti. In order to avoid cliche, you have to have a decent screenplay and then an actor who brings sui generis and generous a perspective on the character. And there's no actor like Paul Giamatti. Whatever he's going to do is going to be unique.
I read a whole article written about how you use Dissolve so brilliantly, talking about classic filmmaking. And the article said, when dissolves have entered the unfortunate club with voiceover and zooms, things in film
I said
you're
that.
not
I said
supposed
that
to
in
do.
that article, yeah.
Yes. So how much do you work behind the camera with your DOP, with your cinematographer?
All right, well, those are two different questions because dissolves are applied
Happen in the
with the
edit.
editing, correct.
Yeah.
But with the cinematographer, we always do, no matter who the cinematographer is, we discuss overall mood of film, color palette of film, and then mood of scene. I don't get too involved specifically in the lighting because I don't really understand it, but I am highly involved in lens choice and shot design.
And do you sit in the edit and choose those dissolves?
Every moment. Yeah, the editor and I work together every moment.
When I think of the story in this film, it's a really human story. The man who's flawed, the poetry and the grief of Mary, played by the brilliant Divine Joy Randolph. Angus, who's damaged, angry and hurt, he's the student. Why do you think such simple human stories are so effective? Have we lost those stories for a while? Is that why The Holdovers is touching so many people, do you think?
Well, I'm told that. I don't really...
You know that.
Well, look, I don't actually watch a lot of contemporary movies. I watch mostly old movies. And so I'm always splashing around in that area. But I just know I was trained early on I had some very influential teachers who told me my responsibility as a filmmaker was, now this sounds corny, but I'm quoting a mentor, to always explore the mysteries of the human heart. And that just seems right. And I think those of us who are interested in literature and in movies and stories, we're interested in people. We like to gossip. We like stories, and we study stories. And the other thing to keep in mind is that I'm 62 years old right now, so I was in high school in the late 1970s and had been movie crazy my entire life. So those 70s movies that we now regard as kind of the last golden age of American cinema, that's where I was trained or just was being taught, was being shown this is what a commercial American narrative film is. And I've never really stopped. I've always been trying to make 70s movies, essentially.
Paul Giamatti is a classics professor at Barton College. You're Greek American, is that right? How's your Greek? How's your Latin even?
Latin was my best.
Do you speak Greek?
Not too bad. Not great. I have a pretty high standard for what it is to speak a language, and my Greek is okay, getting better. I did become a citizen also last year.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. And then Latin was my best subject in high school.
Really?
Yeah. I like language very much.
I had a Latin teacher who'd come in and say, Salvete discipuli, and we had to say Salve Magister. That's pretty much all I remember.
Okay,
anyway,
very good.
Music. Can we talk about the score by Mark Orton
We
and
may.
the soundtrack from that era? How many of those songs in the soundtrack were your personal choices?
That's impossible to determine from now in hindsight because It's very much, I mean, ultimately, yes, as the director, I'm the, as George Bush's son used to say, the deciderer. I make the final decisions given what we can clear and what we can afford. But that long, ongoing music process of finding the right songs that match the rhythm and the emotion of the film without ever calling attention to itself, that's a long, ongoing process among the editor, Kevin Tent, the music editor, the London-born Richard Ford, and myself. And we've been at it for 25 years.
I know that this is a state secret as to how Paul Giamatti achieved that.
Energy supplies don't want you to know about this trick to warm up houses for practically zero cost. This space heater is being called the
secret. But was this a metaphor for Paul and the world struggling to see eye to eye?
Sure.
That's all you're going to say?
Yeah, if you say so, sounds good to me. You know, I'll take any metaphor I didn't intend.
I'm putting fanciful
Makes me sound
interpretations
like a profound director. Awesome. Got any more?
We know that smell is the sense most closely linked to memory. So is there a smell from 1970 that immediately evokes that time for your memory?
Patchouli.
Oh, really?
100%.
Tell us why.
Because I was, like in 1970, I was 9 years old and I had a brother in college. I'm much younger than my older brothers. So I would often see through their eyes because they were older than I and cooler. So, and patchouli, my older brother's girlfriends always wore patchouli.
And I wanted to just ask you what sort of director you are on set. Do you rehearse a lot?
I'm a terrible, terrible martinet.
Explain that.
No. I'm told I'm nice, and that's good to hear. But I don't really have any experience. I've never really been on anyone else's or very few professional film sets. But I'm told my set is very calm and focused, and all I know is when I'm making a movie, I'm having more fun than when I'm doing anything else, any other activity, and I think that. That feeling becomes infectious.
Alexander, thank you so much, and fingers crossed for all the major awards for this film and for you.
You're very kind. Thanks very much.
Alexander Payne talking to me about his film, The Holdovers. I wholeheartedly recommend it. My guests on today's Arts Hour are the filmmaker and architect Kibwe Tavares and critic and cultural commentator Hannah Strong. So, Hannah, you've seen The Holdovers.
I have, yes.
What did you think?
I was very glad I saw it before Christmas because it instantly put me in the Christmas mood. But if you're kind of wanting to extend that a little bit wherever you are in the world, it's so festive. And that idea of these three kind of lonely souls coming together for the holidays, not really having anyone else they can rely on, whether that's by circumstance or choice. I always love that kind of trope in a film. And if you watch the trailer, it has the lovely retro these three people, you know, the kind of the deep voice, classic narration. Yeah. It really is all about meeting and kind of getting to know these characters.
You weren't born in the 1970s, were you, Kibwe? No. And neither were you, Hannah.
No.
But would you ever make a film set in the past? Because your films tend to be near future or future.
I think I definitely would. I think that so far, I think it's really come from probably my training as when I was training as an architect. Really, like you tend to sort of like design or build for something that doesn't exist yet. So you're naturally in the mindset of thinking forward of like, you know, how do we like, unless you're sort of working on historical projects or restorations, but in general, you're sort of looking forward to sort of something that's not there. Yeah. So I think that naturally put me into, when I moved into film, it put me into the space of like, imagining sort of near futures or other things. And then I think references as a kid growing up, I used to watch a lot of sci-fi, watch a lot of anime, watch a lot of things that were set in like sometimes alternate worlds or like things that you could escape to in a way.
Yeah.
And then so I've guessed techniques and stuff that I learned, I was like, okay, well, why not sort of use that within my own sort of like practice and my own work?
Thank you both so much. You're listening to the Arts Hour on the BBC World Service. I'm Nikki Beattie. David Oyelowo is one of the most successful actors to emerge from the UK in recent years, from starring as the young Danny in the BBC hit drama Spooks, known in the US as MI5, to appearing in Hollywood films The Butler, Lincoln and Interstellar, and most impressively, starring as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in the critically acclaimed Selma. His latest project is Lawman Bass Reeves, a gritty Western TV series for Paramount Plus, which he also co-produced. When the BBC's Nihal Arthanayake spoke to David Oyelowo, he wanted to know how early in his career he decided that once he reached a certain level of profile, he'd leverage it to have more of a say behind the camera.
I think it started probably unconsciously very early, growing up in London and watching television particularly, and not seeing folks who look like me doing the kind of work that I felt was commensurate with their talent, and not quite being able to understand that. I had to look across the pond to the likes of a Denzel or a Will Smith or a Jamie Foxx at the time to kind of go, oh, well, that's something I can aspire to. I just didn't see anything akin to that in the UK. And so I think the seed was planted. I looked at and was inspired by actors like Kenneth Branagh, for instance, who was producing and directing his own movies. I remember seeing Henry V and finding out that he directed it as well, and just thinking, whoa, is that even a thing? And then, here comes Mel Gibson doing the same with Braveheart. And I just knew even then that the kind of things I wanted to do, or the kind of things I aspired to do, there was not even a hint of that being in the ether of what I saw others doing or what was coming my way. So it became clear that at some point I was going to have to try and crack the code of that if I was going to even have a chance of that. And then I started seeing actors like George Clooney and Mark Wahlberg and Ben Affleck and Matt Damon and Brad Pitt having production companies, putting out work that they had been part of engineering. I did a film called Jack Reacher with Tom Cruise, and I remember asking him, saying, how have you maintained this extraordinary career for so long? And he said, David, create. From early on in my career, I've had a hand in the creation of everything that I have made. And that really stuck with me.
When you look beyond the barrel of the camera to the people that make up the team involved in bringing your imagination to life, what is the power of seeing other people who look like you?
Because of the history of both television and cinema, the people pulling the strings, the people who have the green light power are often white and male. And there's just no way of avoiding the fact that there's been many a show or a film whereby all of the decision making is going through a white perspective on African narratives, African American narratives, Black British narratives. And there's just no way of shying away from the fact that that affects the product itself. And it's a constant challenge for me as a producer, because what you have is a built-in excuse that we are spending millions of dollars, millions of pounds. We need that to be put in the hands of people who have a track record. But the way to get a track record is someone somewhere at some point has had enough faith in you to delegate that level of responsibility. And that is the battle we are still in the middle of.
David Oyelowo, my guests on today's Arts Hour are critic and cultural commentator Hannah Strong and filmmaker Kibwe Tavares. Kibwe, are you a fan of David Oyelowo's performances? And if so, which one is standout for you?
I am. I think he's a very powerful performer. Hopefully one day I'll get to meet him at some point. But the performance that really stuck with me was Selma. I'm excited to see him in Book of Clarence. I don't know necessarily how big his role is in that, but I'm excited I haven't seen that film yet, so I'm excited to see that.
Yeah. Hannah, what about you? Standout performance from him?
Obviously, Selma, I think, is absolutely towering achievement. But I really thought he did a great job as Javert in the BBC adaptation of Les Miserables, which was a few years ago now. But I think it came just after Russell Crowe's version, in the film.
Anything is better than that.
Very different approach. Very, very good. I'm excited to see, I love a Western, so I am actually quite excited to see this TV show as well. And he's someone that is been around for such a long time and really, really grafts so hard with everything he does.
Boy, David Oyelowo moved to the US and he's had far more success there. And there was a big conversation just a couple of years ago about the black actor talent drain from the UK to America. What's the situation like from where you sit?
In some ways, it's hard to sort of like compare the two industries. Like even on a sort of like demographic level, if you think about the industry is much bigger, but also the US is 300 million people, around 20% African American. So it's like you can have shows targeted, particularly at that have a huge audience. You know, that's probably the population of England by itself. The infrastructure isn't quite here yet. You know, I guess class comes into it as well. It's like being able to sort of wait for the opportunity to, like, you know, you have to, whilst being able to sort of like earn a living and sort of support yourself just to get through. The idea of waiting is tricky because actually, like, if you keep waiting or if you have to go and work in a sort of completely different industry, you're getting further and further away from your goals. So when the opportunities come up, I sort of like, I can feel the brain drain in a sense, but I don't think it's simple in any way.
Thank you. That's it for part one of the show, but don't go away. Still to come, filmmaker and actor Greta Gerwig, and I'll be talking to my guest, Kibwe Tavares, about his film, The Kitchen. The Arts Hour's back after this.
This is the BBC World Service, looking into the work of international diplomats. Throughout history, we humans have understood how important it is to cooperate with our neighbours and have people on the ground who can represent the interests of one particular group to another.
The essence of diplomacy is communication, but also courage, especially in these times.
I'm Izzy Lawrence, and we're pulling back the curtain on the world of diplomacy to ask what really goes on in the corridors of power.
The tools in the toolbox that we have as diplomats are ultimately about kind of building these relationships, building trust, and with that you can come to these common agreements, even when you're coming from different perspectives.
What you do expect is that you will have moved the needle just a little bit in the direction of your country's national interest.
The Forum, Diplomacy, Saturday at 12 GMT.
Still to come on the Arts Hour with me, Nikki Beattie. Actor, writer and director Greta Gerwig talks Barbie.
I believe in people. I'm not negative about it all. And I kind of thought, let's make the most bananagrams thing they'll let us get away with.
And my conversation with architect turned filmmaker Kibwe Tavares, whose latest work is The Kitchen, which he co-directed with actor Daniel Kaluuya. All that and more coming up on the Arts Hour.
BBC News with Emily Thomas. 21 Israeli soldiers have been killed in the deadliest single incident for the IDF since it invaded Gaza. The Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, acknowledged it had been one of the most difficult days, but said Israel would not stop fighting until absolute victory. The Israeli military says it's completed the encirclement of the city of Khan Yunis, adding it had killed dozens of militants in the past 24 hours. The Palestinian Red Crescent Society says its office there has been hit by Israeli artillery fire. Iranian-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen have warned that the latest strikes by the US and Britain will not go unanswered. The Pentagon said 8 locations had been hit in response to the continued targeting of shipping in the Red Sea. China has urged all parties at the United Nations to be constructive and non-politicized as its human rights record faces scrutiny. A recent UN report suggested Beijing's actions against Uyghur Muslims in Xinjiang could amount to crimes against humanity. Several cities in Ukraine have been hit in the Russian missile attacks, killing at least 4 people and injuring many more. In Kharkiv, in the northeast, the authorities say 30 residential buildings were damaged. The Hungarian Prime Minister says he's invited his Swedish counterpart to Budapest for what he calls negotiations on Sweden's NATO membership. It follows reports that the Turkish parliament could vote on Stockholm's accession today. Germany's constitutional court has ruled that the far-right party Die Heimat will no longer be eligible for financial support from the state. The case is being closely watched for possible ramifications for the larger Alternative for Germany party. Tens of thousands of people have attended prayers at the contentious Hindu shrine opened in Adoya in northern India on Monday. The building occupies the site of a mosque destroyed by Hindu nationalists in 1992. BBC News.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Hey, Charlie, you're on your way to Ghana. Boy, oh boy, you stressed out, tired. Go, you're going to be resting. Okay, then let me recommend to you JN Mobile Spa in Accra, Ghana. Oh boy, JN Mobile Spa, they provide organic care in massage. Are you stressed? Do you need rejuvenating, etc.? For your facials, maybe exfoliating, firming, and lifting? Then contact JN Spa on 00233 244 941 002 or 00233 2006 06386, and they will be right there on time. JN Mobile Spa, your health and beauty needs at your doorstep. Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Pram Pram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodoma, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Prum Senior High School and Ghanaman Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour show is your best source into the property industry.
Tune in to On Point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Worldwide online 24/7.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour show is your best source into the property industry.
Broadcasting worldwide online 24/7.
All around the world. In your car,
At work.
at home.
On your smartphone.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Are you ready to turn it up?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, your heart is aching. Smile even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you get by. If you smile through your fear and sorrow, smile and maybe tomorrow you find that life is still worthwhile if you just smile. Hey, this is Archie and you are listening to Starr Radio UK and The Morning Show.
This is Starr Radio. This is
UK.
Starr Radio
UK.
This is Starr Radio
UK.
Welcome.
Broadcasting worldwide online 24/7.
Enlighten your day with Starr Radio. Starr Radio. Radio for the people, by the people.
Love for you runs deep.
Welcome.
My heartbeat. You make a doubt they fade. Jesus, and that's what makes you great. You hold the world in your hands.
Okay, let me say massive good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth, and those of you on other planets as well. We want to salute each and every one of you and welcome you to the Tuesday edition of the morning show. Today is the 23rd day of January, the year 2024. With the time now 10:43 from the House of London. I remain yours sincerely, your one and only.
This is the morning show with Archie.
And let me say welcome on board. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you. To my colleague and co-presenter, Mr. Lime Koiki, working behind the scenes. Mr. Francis Guy, my able producer, pulling all the strings to make sure that everything fits along very nicely. Don't hold in my legs. Tell me that we need to do something. Okay. Let me say massive good morning to Bishop Adesina. Anthony Adelegi Aziz, good morning to you. Olakunle, good morning. Rachel. Shamsuni, massive good morning to you. Anthony, are you back in the States? Let me also say good morning to my brother Felix all the way in Aberdeen. Felix, I hope you are doing very, very well. Coach D, good morning. And let me say a special happy birthday to Zoe Dake, Miss Zoe Dake, or Miss Zoe Day. It is your birthday today, and every one of you celebrating your special day, maybe your birthday or whatever it is this morning. Today, I say massive good morning to you, and have a lovely day today. This good morning also goes to BB Clement and all presenters on Starr Radio UK. Till the end, you are God. To Reverend Michael Siama and Mrs. Minister Elome Siama, massive good morning to you and all the Power Word International members. To my bottom sir, brother HP and every member of Bible Life Family Ministries, I salute you. Okay, so for the program outline for today, I'm going to bring you the quote for the day, the weather forecast to follow through, then the travel updates from there. We look at some of the stories making around abroad the globe, known as global trotting. Then we continue from there to have a look at some of the other the details of the stories making the rounds in other countries, from Nigeria to Ghana to other parts of Africa and other parts of the world, and we will land here in the UK. At 12 o'clock when we bring the program to a close, we are doing some major upgrade works here, so it will take a bit of time, but don't you worry. Do you have any hitches or hisses in there? Yeah, it's one of those things that is happening, but hey, welcome on board. 11:30, the lines will be open for you to add a voice to the discussion, and we'll move on from there. But remember, this afternoon, exactly at 1:30, BB Clement will be coming away with BB Means Business once again. Maybe wherever you are, good morning to you once again. And that's what I'm taking the opportunity to say good morning to HRH Linda Pallian, all the way in Cyprus. You hold the world in your share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages. This is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Same God now, yesterday, and forevermore. So the quote for the day says, be enthusiastic about the future because all successful people are. How enthused are you? Starr Radio UK. To the end, you are God. Now moving on to the weather front. Well, we know that the weather has not been fair or good to those of us in the UK, but hey, what is happening today as well? Now mainly cloudy this afternoon with patchy light rain, and breeze will continue to spread in from the west at times. It will be turning windier later with rates of gales. There's going to be patchy light rain. The patchy light rain will continue this evening, perhaps becoming heavy in places as winds strengthen overnight. Skies will clear and conditions become drier. Now, temperature has been 14 degrees, the lowest is going to be 10 degrees. UV level low, pollution low, sunset 0 and 16:34, and sunrise for tomorrow morning 0:72 hours. Listeners, it is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African radio station. Where? London. So playing the background something from Eden Morrison. Okay, so keep your eyes on the roads, as I'm keeping navigated. Let's move on straight to the travel update for you. Now, those of you happening on the underground this morning? How about everything that happened yesterday? Yes, and the day before, and what is going to happen today? Well, Central Line has got severe delays. Elizabeth Line minor delays. Metropolitan Line minor delays. Piccadilly Line minor delays. That aside, all the other underground lines are running a good service. London Overground has got a part suspension, so check before you leave. London Tramway good service, DLR good service there as well. On the major roads in London, well, A23, A3, and A316 have all got serious delays, so you can avoid them. Do your best to do so. The River Bus is running a good service, though. The London Cable Car is also running a good service there. But that brings us straight to the final segment of the travel update, that is the National Rail. Are you keeping your eyes on the road? Well, Atlantic West Coast has got minor delays. Cross Country Special Service, West Transparent Express Special Service, London North Eastern Railway Special Service, Lumo Special Service, Northern Rail minor delays, Scott Rail Special Service, South Eastern Railways minor delays, Southern minor delays, and Transport Rails has also got special service. That aside, all the others are running a good service. So let me do it this way, I'll say it this way. Say it loud. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth. Enjoy your community. But you know what? Continue to do those guys well on the road.
I worship you. Great are you,
Hi guys, this is your friend Archie from Sendwave. Sendwave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With Sendwave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, Sendwave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use Sendwave? Sendwave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about Sendwave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Vedasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business. The show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancer taking over. Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancer taking over. Yo, what's up, people? This is a boy Raskin Bobo One. Tune in every day, every night at the Starr Radio UK with the big man them Archie. When I say Orta, you say fire.
Welcome back. Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Let's go global. Trot in. Yeah, so let's start from Nigeria. What's happening in Nigeria? Northerners should not provoke anyone. Ramples over relocation of CBN, FAAN offices. Well, it looks like the Northerners are on the path of, I don't know, well, they want to be the movers and the shakers, but don't make money your goal. That's what the president is saying. And then some more stories from there. Tinubu orders expansion of students loan program. That's a good one there. And Dangote Cement his 10 trillion naira market capitalization. And Nigeria Otedola announces significant acquisition of shares in Dangote Cement. And police arrest council chairman for plot to assassinate a speaker. Okay, we're keeping our goals for next round. Basiro boosts after one win against Guinea-Bissau. That is when it comes to the AFCON. Now, Makinde presents Ibadan explosion report to Tinubu and two girl lords, Nigeria, India, multifaceted cooperation. And one chance, FCTA moves to ban unpaid taxes. Now, Coronation Bank strengthens management team with key appointments. And then Naira depreciates as currency. Traders quote 1,311 per Naira per dollar in official market rate. Oh boy. Well, we'll be telling you more about all that in a moment. But wherever you are, don't even think of touching the dial. In other parts of Africa as well, Liberia's new president, Joseph Boakai, was sworn in and making a speech on Monday, was actually helped out of the state from the podium because he fell ill or sort of. But his handlers are saying that it's not that he was ill, but it was because of the heat. So eventually he was having a heat stroke or something of the sort. He listed improving adherence to the rule, but the ceremony, however, ended abruptly after Boakai, who wore traditional Liberian attire for the occasion, began to show signs of physical distress while speaking. Well, he was wearing, one of these batakaritin that is quite heavy, the material, and I think the heat there as well. So he was held up from the days. But what do you think about all that? How old is he? And do you think that is going to pan out for his country at all? I'm going to be telling you more about that. I think he's 72. Now, US and 6 allied nations launched, that will be coming your way later. And a campaign against malaria launched in Douala faces hurdles in initial phase. One of the stories making the rounds there as well. And Burkina Faso fresh coup attempt thwarted. Authorities are saying that was all the way from the 19th. Okay, Liberia's new president assisted from podium during inauguration, which I've talked about. But Burna Boy to perform at the 2024 Grammys. Well, kudos. They flying the flag of Africa there. Well done to all of them. Now, UN chief is hopeful on Africa's permanent seat on the Security Council. Now, if we have a permanent seat there, what difference can we make? Let me take a particular example of what is happening in Yemen, where because of these attacks, now America and UK and some of its allies are on, I won't call it a bombing spree. They are doing, they are fighting the cause. I mean, protecting, defending the cause here. And the question is, if it's an illegal fight that they are involved in, can we, our seats on the Security Council, bring about any difference? Or we're going to be, because we are desperate, you have to vote with us so that, then we go there. And then we have to vote with it, then we go there. Is that what is going to happen? Well. It's Starr Radio UK. And then to other stories making the rounds there as well in Ghana, NHIA partners UNICEF to register victims of Akosombo Dam spillage. It's one of the stories making the rounds there as well. When it comes to politics in Ghana, Alan making MPP weaker in polls. Global Info Analytics are saying, well, is he or the MPP is already weak? A 2024 election, independent candidates won't make any impact. That's Kwesi Jonah saying. A senior research fellow at the Institute of Democratic Governance, Professor Kwesi Jonah, says independent candidates cannot make any difference in the upcoming 2024 general elections. But this is where Global Analytics is saying that, well, the independent candidate this time around, Alan Shermanton, is making, actually weakening the ruling government, or have they already lost their oomph? And therefore, COP Mesa is saying Ghanaians are suffering. Ghanaians are suffering from who? It's the same party that you are joining, who have led the country for how many years? 8 years, or call it, yes? And if the Ghanaians are suffering, they are making the woes of Ghanaians worse off for them. So, come again, boy. Allow installed SML system to run until investigations are over. GRA Bex Ekufuado. Okay, we'll tell you more about all that. I'm capable and ready if Muhammad chooses me as running mate. A call Spio Gabra is saying. And delayed transport fares increase affecting us. GPR2U is saying there as well. Lots more going to be coming your way from there. AFCON, I take responsibility. Chris Houghton stops short of resigning after embarrassing Mozambique draw. Well, Ghana, my happy home, the best team in the world. Yeah, right. Okay, now let's move on to some other stories making the rounds this morning. Now, Israel says 24 soldiers killed in Gaza in one day. Monday was the deadliest day for Israel since the start of its ground operation. Well, whose fault was that? And then Houthi leader calls US and UK the guardian of Israeli destruction. They've gone on another spray of bombings there to actually break the backs of them. And civilians dead in Russia strikes on Kyiv and Kharkiv. It says early morning missile attacks targeted blocks of flats in Ukraine's capital and second biggest city. The Spanish Grand Prix to move to Madrid in 2026. Some of the stories making the rounds this morning. Oscar nominations to reflect Barbenheimer's success. Well, they're going to be looking at all that. Send back our husbands, Russian women in rare protests. I bet they're going to put them behind the bars pretty soon. A group of Russian women are making rare public demands for reservists to return from the front line. Well, they are fighting for the nation. Why should they be returned to the from the front line? They are doing what they have to do. That's what they signed up for, right? Okay, now moving on to the UK front as well. Now, new US-UK strikes on Houthis send clearest message, says Cameron. And the foreign secretary insists the strikes in Yemen are degrading the Houthis' ability to attack Red Sea ships. And Iran's anti-Semitic speeches to UK students probed. Watchdog is investigating videos of online speeches urging students to join an apocalyptic war. The Scottish trains to halt as storm jostling sweeps UK. All ScotRail trains will be suspended from 19 hours GMT with gusts of up to 80 miles per hour expected in Scotland. Now, lower UK borrowing raises prospect of tax cuts. And then peers vote against approving Rwanda treaty. Those are some of the stories making the rounds this morning. Post office inquiry to hear about victims who died without justice. Inquiry hearing about processes of Scotland prosecution. Daily admits erroneously, including his wife's education on CV. Those are some of the stories making the rounds here in the UK. I'm going to be looking at all that in details in the next few moments. But for now, let's go enjoy this music. It says, "Come, come, Holy Spirit, come, Spirit of God." Enjoy it. It is from, it's featuring, M Praise featuring Alexandra. Enjoy it.
Shall be mine.
Radio
Okay, so say the Spirit of God, come and do your work. Sometimes you need the power. Somebody say, until an external force work on something, it doesn't move, it doesn't change. Alright? So we need that external force to work on us, to move things out God. And that is what the power of God can do. So, a bit of church there for you. Back in the day. Ha ha ha. Okay, I love the tune from there. But share the broadcast to your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages as well. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Let's go to Nigeria for the stories or the updates from there. As I did say, come next week, God willing, we'll be having Mr. Laimi Koiki and bringing us excerpts from that. But now, these are some of the stories that he sent to me. The Northern Senators Forum has kicked against the planned relocation of the Central Bank of Nigeria and the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria onto Lagos. The forum also alleged loopsidedness in the allocation of resources to the North in the 2024 budget. A South-South leader, Chief Edwin Clark, and National President of Middle Belt Forum, Dr. Bitrus Pogu, said there is nothing wrong in relocating the offices to Lagos. Well, reacting to the protest by some northern groups, South-South leader Chief Edwin Clark said Northerners should not provoke. Provoke who? And that's quite an interesting one there. So the issue now is, what is the president going to do? There is nothing wrong with relocating some department of the CBN to Lagos. Who did they consult when they moved the Navy to Kano? You know, it's interesting. There's no sea. But they moved the naval base to Kano. Now, when they brought the Shippers House and the Nigerian Maritime Authority to Abuja, before former President Olusegun Obasanjo moved them to Lagos. But so do you think this is going to provoke anything there? As representatives of the people at the national level, we are committed to addressing the concerns and feelings of our constituents regarding certain decisions and policies put forth by the federal government. Loopsidedness is in the distribution and allocation of resources in the 2024 budget, relocation of some federal agencies from Abuja to Lagos. Now, interestingly, I'm looking at it from this point of view. Now, if we look at the situation where the North is trying to tilt towards having a Sharia sort of, I'm not saying that. So we have a situation where somebody might have said something and it's religiously not acceptable, and therefore maybe the person has been stoned to death, or somebody is selling, let's say, alcohol, okay, in the North, and they say, because you're not supposed to do that, and but we take it at the whole of Nigeria. So what about those who are producing alcohol and selling them, and the taxes that is being gathered from all that? That now, when it comes to time for us to depreciate or to distribute or to allocate funds for the development of our various areas. Now, those areas that actually contributed a lot to that are saying, yeah, we need lots of it now and then. But the Northerners are thinking that, no, I think that is marginalizing us. What have the Southeast been saying? What about the Southwest? Also, what have they been saying about that? Oh, well, listen, this is all from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Do you think the federal government is being fair? Saying now, we're going to be moving some department of the central bank to the Lagos, where Lagos seems to be the economical capital of Nigeria. I remember being the A's. Oh gosh, The population there, no joke. And the business and everything that is going on there, no joke. But they think that by moving it there, is it that their workers are going to lose, or people from the north who work in those particular organizations or institutions are going to lose their jobs, or what? What is it going to be? Well. I want to hear from you if you are listening to me this morning, especially those of us who hail from Nigeria. Well, but the president has gone on to say, you know what? Don't make money your God. The good book says, or the Bible says, the love of money is the root of all evil. It didn't say money. It said the love. Okay. But Tinubu is now saying, don't make it your God. So you love God, right? You worship money. Whatever God tells you that you should do, that's what you do, right? The president says, don't make money your God. Now, President Bola Tinubu on Monday urged Nigerians to have a change of mindset towards money. He gave that admonition when he received a delegation of the Christian Association of Nigeria, led by its president, Archbishop Daniel Oko, at the State House in Abuja. He said, let us dialogue, because public condemnation of a nation is not what makes any citizen a good one. We must admonish Nigerians to have a change of mindset and not to make money our God or master. I believe we will get to the promised land and Nigeria will flourish, he said. Now, according to a statement released by his spokesman, Ajuri Ngelale, Tinubu also told the Christian leaders that his government is unrelenting, promising to be fair to all Nigerians. We are here to listen, and if you observe any inadequacies in my government, let us know. I'm here to do today because of your prayers and the will of God Almighty. What I have challenged myself to do each day is to be fair to all Nigerians, he added. Well, what about security for those of the Christian faith in the north who are from time to time, or most of the time, being their edifices being destroyed and everything that happens there? What promises did he give to them there as well? Well, sometime last year, before the president was sworn in, we have Bishop Adeshina making a statement that I would say that he was prophesying at the time. And he made a statement saying that the Naira is going to depreciate to a point that Nigeria will virtually, so I say, the economy of Nigeria will sort of, some way, somehow, get to a point of being extinct, right? Now, the Naira has depreciated against the dollar again in the official market, despite the $2 billion paid by the CBN to 14 banks. The Nigerian currency recorded an intraday high of 1,311 Naira per dollar and a low of 745 Naira. The Naira finally depreciated to 925.35 per dollar in the official market. The Nigerian currency continued its woeful performance against the US dollar on Monday, January 22. And he says the Naira open trading in the official market at 928.34 per dollar as traders jostled for the few greenbacks available. Well, the development comes as the Central Bank of Nigeria said it paid $2 billion in forex backlogs to 14 banks. The CBN has cleared the entire foreign exchange forwards liability of 14 banks, according to reports a CBN official disclosed. Now, Wednesday, that settlements with foreign airlines have also begun. This is a significant worry for investors, as foreign currency shortages continue to cause the Naira to depreciate despite assurances by the Apex Bank to clear the backlog. They say Nigeria has about $7 billion in mature forex forwards. In a report, about 2 billion of the backlog across sectors such as manufacturing, aviation, and petroleum has been settled, per a statement from the acting CBN spokesperson Hakama Sidi Ali. Now, she said an independent forensic review of the backlog authorized by the CBN reveals serious infractions, abuse, and significant non-compliance with the market regulations. Ali said the CBN will enforce appropriate sanctions against offenders in partnership with relevant security agencies. The financial institutions regulator said it is committed to cleaning up the financial sector industry to enhance market confidence. The Naira performance follows a new ranking showing the world's strongest currencies. The Bureau de Change operators have raised alarm that some Nigerians are hoarding their savings in US dollars due to the depreciation in the value of the Naira. The national president of the Association of Bureau de Change Operators of Nigeria, APCON, Aminu Gwadabe, said there was a need for the FX market, the forex market, to be liquid. The APCON boss noted that $2.2 billion released by the Afrexim Bank was insufficient to stimulate the market and significantly impact the Naira's value. So what do you think is the next step for them that they can take to actually turn situations and events around for them? It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. The President Bola Tinubu has directed the management of the Nigeria Education Loan Fund to expand its focus area by extending interest-free loans to Nigerian students interested in skill development programs. And that is a good one there. A good one. Okay? Good for training of the people. But again, we come to the point where after all that training, are there jobs to go into? Is the system such that it's environmentally friendly for people to grow businesses in there? The president issued this directive at the State House on Monday after a briefing from Mr. Akintunde Sawyer, Executive Secretary of NELFAN, on the build up to the launch of the program later in the month. The president said it is important for the scheme to accommodate those who may not want to pursue university education, noting that skill acquisition is as important as obtaining undergraduate and graduate academic qualifications. Now, this is not an exclusive program. It is catering to all of our young people. Young Nigerians are gifted in different areas. This is not only for those who want to be doctors, lawyers, and accountants. It is also for those who aspire to use their skill and trained hands to build our nation. In accordance with this, I have instructed NELFAN to explore all opportunities to inculcate skill development programs, because not everybody wants to go through a full university education, he said. I mean, this is something that we should have realized long time ago, because we've got lots of people who are skilled. They don't have the book head, right? But when it comes to get them something to do, boy, the creativity that they've had to go about things, you don't have a clue about it. Well, let's see. Well, so with this move, and I hope that proper strategies are put in place to make sure that it's targeted towards the right people. The right people get it. It's not that some people will just take it and will not do anything with it. After all, I know that they need to be in maybe a training institution before those funds are given to them, together for them to help them go through that training so that they will excel in whatever walk of life. I think Tinubu is doing well. What do you think? Applaud to say the president. I think he's doing well. And as the literature laureate, what is his name? They say, let's give him some time before we come to assess him and then maybe draw our conclusions. I think we have to, right? Yes, I hope Nigerians believe in that. Now, what will it take to abolish 29 persons abducted as bandits in military camouflage attack Katsina community? I find out one day we move on from the outside. They say we bring the program to close after 12 o'clock so that the technical team can do what they have to do on it. The 29 persons are said to have been kidnapped after some suspected bandits attacked Tasha Nalgil village in Batsari, local government area of Katsina. Now, an eyewitness told some news reporters that hoodlums numbering over 60 armed with dangerous weapons including AK-47 rifles invaded the village at about 10 p.m. on Sunday and chased residents. He narrated that the hoodlums were dressed in army uniforms so that none of the villagers could fear them. Upon their arrival in the village, the bandits opened fire twice and started chasing residents up to their houses. They were asking the residents to stop, stating that there were security personnel there to assist them, he said. Well. How much more of this can Nigerians take? It's a sad one there. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. And that is where we bring the updates from Nigeria to a close. Now let's move on straight to some other countries on the African continent. Notably, we'll be looking at Ghana and other places. Now, the story that I would like to touch on from the African front. Now, Liberia's new president, Joseph Boakai, was sworn in to office on Monday after his narrow win in a November election. Boakai, who at age 79 is the country's oldest sitting head of state, promised to unite and rescue Africa's oldest republic from its economic woes. Now, partisanship must give way to nationalism, Boakai told citizens and foreign delegation members who attended his inauguration ceremony in Monrovia, Liberia's capital. He listed improving adherence to the rule of law, fighting corruption, and renewing the lost hope of citizens as his priorities. The ceremony, however, ended abruptly after Boakai, who wore traditional Liberian attire for the occasion, began to show signs of physical distress while speaking. Officials led him away from the podium after he unsuccessfully tried to continue his address. The spokesperson for Boakai's political party said the president's weakness was caused by heat and had nothing to do with his health. Now, Boakai has dismissed concerns about his age, arguing that it came with a wealth of experience and achievement that will benefit the country. He won a tight runoff election to defeat Liberia's youngest ever president, George Weah. Public goodwill towards soccer legend turned politician Weah waned as he neared the end of his first 6-year term. Now, critics accuse him of not fulfilling campaign promises to fix Liberia's ailing economy, stamp out corruption, and to ensure justice for victims of the country's back-to-back civil war between 1989 and 2003. Now, Boakai, who earned a university degree in business administration, has been active in Liberia's national politics since 1980s. Now, when he served as the agriculture minister, starting in 2006, he spent 12 years as vice president and under Africa's first democratically elected female leader, Ellen Joseph Sirleaf. He lost his first run for the presidency in 2017 to Weah, who took over from Sirleaf in the West African nation's first democratic transfer of power since the end of its civil war. Boakai touted his second presidential campaign as a rescue mission to free Liberians from what he described as Weah's failed leadership. He promised, notwithstanding any positive changes from the new Liberian leader are likely to come slowly, considering how different Boakai's agenda is from the predecessor, according to Ibrahim Nye, a research researcher and political analyst at the Liberian Deco Institute for Social and Economic Research. It's not going to be a walk in the park for the Bukai administration, Neye said. The new leadership will have to review concessions agreements signed by Weir and Ellen's government to establish which one work in the interest of Liberia and seek new international partners with that will help address some of the country's challenges. Now, Moravia's resident Ansu Bamban Jr. said he thinks Bukai will improve the lives of citizens. I do not expect anything less than good from the president, Bamban said. Bukai has a public reputation as a hardworking and humble politician whose personality and political experience suggests that he may show more dedication towards combating corruption than previous administration, said Zoe McCarthy, a political and security analyst at the African Focus Signal Risk Consulting. Nevertheless, it's unlikely that Bukai will be able to fully address this matter due to entrenched nature of corruption within Liberian politics. McCarthy said achieving sustained economic growth is expected to be an uphill battle for the Bukai administration because of the Liberian economy lack of diversification and dependence on imports. Now, we'll be looking at following him very, very closely. Let's see. But let's look at this. Let me know what you think about it. Now, do you think that the older school, when I call them the old school, like the older people who are presidents, are doing much better than the newer ones? The younger ones, that's what I mean. Not new, younger, the younger ones, the old and the young. Okay. Now it looks like we take the Nigerian president Tinubu. Now he's cracking the whip like no man's business. I mean, was it last week or the week before when we had one of the ministers sent to the courts or being investigated for alleged monies that have been transferred from state funds into some account. Let me not say that the person's personal account, but some account that belongs to them. But the issue is, it looks like when we have Oponwia, Judge Oponwia, as president of Liberia, a young person who we think that is energetic, enthusiastic, that he can do something about it, didn't actually do anything. And this old man is saying, now, you know what? I'm going to be cracking the whip. So maybe he'll be able to do that. But what do you think about all that? Listen to this Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, what about the football? What do you think we are doing? Are we doing good? Well. I think Ghana is out. Well, the coach has come to apologize. Nigeria says, well, the one goal will win over which country? Is it Mozambique? Or which one? See, I'm not following it. Well, they say that they got a special secret or magic under their sleeve. The coach is saying they're going to be unleashing that. So let's see. But Ghana is out. 2024 election. Alan is making MPP weaker in polls. Global Analytics is saying. So let's start from there. The Global Info Analytics says from polls conducted so far from trade and industry ministers, Alan Shermartin is making the governing New Patriotic Party weaker ahead of the 2024 elections. The former presidential aspirant of the governing New Patriotic Party, Alan Shermartin, will be contesting for the 2024 election as an independent candidate with the butterfly as a symbol. The new entrant, who has announced his intention to contest as independent in 2024 polls, is businessman Nana Kwame Bediako, popularly known as Freedom Jacob Caesar. Now, they have expressed optimism of winning the 2024 elections in order to break the two-party force in the country. Now, speaking, was it this morning, Musa Dankwa stated that Mr. Alan Shermartin is unable to break into the voters of the National Democratic Congress. As a pollster, I wish we have a four-party system where nobody can control this country and take it for granted. My apologies. But the numbers we are seeing are not showing that radical departure from what we are used to. So although Alan is making an impact, the question is, who is he affecting with his performance? If Alan was able to break the front of the NDC, that will be a good thing for him to have. But at the moment, he is not able to break the front of the NDC. So whatever gains he is making is coming largely from the MPP, which is making MPP weaker at the minute in the polls, Mr. Danko said. He continued, until and unless Alan begins to make inroads into the NDC base and also has a good impact on the floating voters, I'm afraid we are going to have the system running our country going on. Well, so that's from the info analytics. That's what they are making pertaining to Alan's chances and the impact on the general election and the fortunes of the MPP. However, Kwesi Jonah, a senior research fellow at the Institute of Democratic Governance, Professor Kwesi Jonah, says independent candidates cannot make any difference in the upcoming 2024 general elections. So the question is, where is he looking at whatever he's saying from? The former presidential aspirant of the governing New Patriotic Party, Alan Martin, will be contesting for the 2024 general election as independent candidate with a butterfly as a symbol. A new and okay. Now, they have expressed optimism of winning, okay, but some people are very optimistic that the emergence of independent candidates, especially fresh faces, could make a very big difference in the upcoming election. I have very serious doubts. If you look at the record of performance of independent candidates in the Fourth Republic, whether they are presidential candidates or parliamentary candidates, the record is not very good. So we Ghanaians are sort of more inclined to you belonging to party A or party B, or the big two parties. Let me put it that way, and that is how they vote. So this is this party. So now, do you think Alan? Because if the first story that I read talking about info analytics making a statement that Alan is actually wreaking havoc in the MPP because it's not made any inroads into the NDC. So let's take it this way. So do you agree with what Professor Kwesi Jonah is saying, that whatever independent parties, independent candidates, my apologies, might do will not impact the results of the elections or make any positive or big impact there? What do you think? Let me know. Listeners, it is Starr Radio UK, 11:33 the time. As I said, we're going to be doing some technical upgrades there before we allow before we have BB Clement on at 1:30. So the program will finish at 12 o'clock. My apologies for that. The Ghana Revenue Authority has appealed to President Akufo-Addo to allow for the running of the Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited system that has been installed to enhance revenue assurance for control purposes. According to GRA, the system will continue to record data real time until your further directive after the conclusion of the investigation. They made this request in a rejoinder to the president dated January 16 and signed by the Commissioner General of GRA, Reverend Dr. Amishodai Owusu Amwa. Now, the request, according to GRA, stems from concerns raised by the SML about operation ramifications and disruption that would arise from the intended suspension of operations. Having carefully reviewed the concerns and based on our understanding of the contracts and the deliverable, we are of the opinion that the system that has been installed to enhance revenue assurance for control purposes and also to aid with the ongoing investigation could, with our kindest permission, be allowed to run portions of GRA's letter said. Now, this comes against the backdrop of President Akufo-Addo's suspension of the GRA SML contract on January 2. So, They are looking at a breach of contract. Why are they pushing on or urging on that should continue? So this one ran alongside that, but the president is also making a statement that now I think I want it to stop whilst an investigation takes place. But what do you think, listeners? This is Starr Radio UK. This is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in where? London. Let's do one football and there we go. Now, Black Stars head coach Chris Hilton has claimed responsibility for Ghana's last-minute collapse against Mozambique, which has left the Black Stars staring at another group stage exit at the African Cup of Nations. The Stars gave way a 2-goal lead in the space of 6 minutes to draw 2-2 with Mozambique in their last Group B game at the Olympic Stadium in Abidjan on Monday night. The results has left the Stars in third position in the group with only 2 points and now desperately need a miracle to qualify as one of the 4 third-place teams. Now, he just said, speaking at the post-game press conference, now Hilton said, I take responsibility for this performance and admit my results with the Black Stars have not been good enough. But he stopped short of resigning from his position. Perhaps the reason he did not quit immediately is because there is a slim chance the Black Stars could slip through to the next round if other results go their way. Currently, ranked 5th among the third place teams, Ghana can only qualify if Zambia, Algeria, Cameroon all lose their last group games. So let's see what happens. Do you think they will? Why are you looking at Ghana football? Is there anything to write home about? Or we just make all that noise, yeah, and then they go, and the next moment, and they are back, learning from their colonial masters, and they. But now the colonial masters are doing well. All right, listeners, this is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. If you want to join in the conversation, feel free. Just call me on 0208133257 or 58. Now in US or Canada, it's my apologies. That line is not. You text or WhatsApp me 0753-966-1744, 0753-966-1744. For our Twitter handle is Starr Radio UK and email address is info@starradiouk.com. All right then. So now let's move on to other parts of the world as well, but after this quick or short commercial break.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Welcome back to the program, Starr Radio UK, the station. I am Archie, yours sincerely. All right then. So now let's move on to other parts of the world. Let's look at the stories making the rounds there before we pull the curtains down for the end of the program. But as I did say earlier on, remember that this afternoon, exactly at 1:30, BB Clement will be coming away with BB Means Business at 11:39. We've got about 21 minutes to bring the program to a close. Well, Trump and Haley are to go head-to-head in New Hampshire. Now, voters go to the polls today as the race for the presidential nomination enters its next stage. Now, Donald Trump will face his last remaining Republican opponent, Nikki Haley, in a primary election in New Hampshire on Tuesday. The former U.S. president is hoping to deliver a knockout blow to ex-South Carolina governor's campaign to be the Republican nominee. Ms. Haley hopes New Hampshire's bloc of independent voters will help her pull off an upset victory. The contest follows Mr. Trump's landslide win last week in Iowa. The eventual Republican nominee will challenge the Democratic nominee, likely President Joe Biden, in November's general election. A contest between Mr. Biden, 81, and Mr. Trump, 77, will be a rerun for the 2020 presidential vote. Now, Democrats are also voting to their primary in New Hampshire on Tuesday, but because of dispute between national and local party officials, Mr. Biden is the first sitting president not to appear on the ballot. The race for the Republican nomination narrowed to just 2 on Sunday after Florida Governor Ron DeSantis came a distant second in Iowa's caucuses and then quit and endorsed Mr. Trump. Now, Mr. Trump already held a double-digit lead in many opinion polls taken in New Hampshire before Mr. DeSantis' exit. Now, most surveys suggest a majority of Florida governors supporters view Mr. Trump as the next best option. Well, so let's see what happens there. It is all Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. There's a question on the lips of most people whether the North Korean leader is actually considering war. Now, North Korea's experts, by nature, a cautious group who seek to avoid sowing panic, have been left reeling by two of their own. Now, last week, the two eminent analysts dropped a bomb, so to speak, in stating their belief that the pariah state's leader is preparing for war. Now, Kim Jong-un had scrapped the bedrock goal of reconciling and reuniting with South Korea, they said. Instead, he's presenting the North and the South as two independent states at war with each other. It goes on further to say, we believe that, like his grandfather in 1950, Kim Jong-un has made a strategic decision to go to war, wrote Robert L. Kalin, a former CIA analyst, and Siegfried S. Hecker, a nuclear scientist who's visited the North several times, in an article on Specialty Site 38 North. Such a pronouncement set off alarm bells in Washington, and so a massive debate in North Korea watching circles. Now, most analysts, however, disagree with the war theory. Now, experts across Asia, Europe, and North America, none of them, as I said, none of them supported the idea. Risking the entire regime on a potentially cataclysmic conflict is not on brand for the North Koreans. They have proven to be ruthlessly Machiavellian, says Christopher Green, a Korean watcher from Crisis Group based in the Netherlands. He and others note that the North often acts out to bring Western powers to the table for dialogue, and there are political pressures at home too. But they do agree that Mr. Kim's increased bluster can't be ignored, and his regime has grown more dangerous. Now, while most argue war may still be unlikely, some fear a more limited attack could yet be on the cards. So let's see what's going to happen. Well, Kim. Right. Now, another story is making the rounds as well. In France, a French farmer in her 30s and her teenage daughter were killed when a car crashed into a roadblock during a nationwide protest by French farmers. The accident, which seriously wounded the farmer's husband, happened an hour south of Toulouse as the protest grew. Now, farmers have cut off key roads for the days in the southwest, one of France's most important agricultural regions. Now, early indications suggest that the accident south of Toulouse was not deliberate, and local prosecutors have said. Agriculture Minister Marc Fesneau said it was a tragedy for all of us. Now, Tuesday's accident came as farmers across France expanded their roadblocks after a meeting with Prime Minister Gabriel Attal to address complaints about the new environmental regulations and rising energy costs. Now, public prosecutors said the car struck bales of straw and moved down 3 people while driving in a stretch of dual carriageway on the main N20 national route at Palmes, 70 kilometers or 43 miles south of Toulouse, while it was still dark at around 05:45 hours, or that is 04:45 GMT Tuesday morning. My listeners, a sad one there. We say it once again, may their souls rest in perfect peace. It is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. In Ukraine as well, 4 people have been killed and dozens of people wounded in Russia missile attack targeting the Ukrainian capital, Kyiv, and second biggest city, Kharkiv, according to officials. Residential buildings were hit early on Tuesday in the northeastern city of Kharkiv, leaving 3 people killed and another 42 injured. They included 2 women of 40s and 56. The city mayor said part of a block of flats was destroyed and rescue workers were combing the rubble for survivors. Well, sad one there, but when would all this cease? Let me say good morning to Shamsuddin Oladipupo. Hey, my brother, I hope you are doing very, very, very well. May you have a wonderful day. He says, God bless you, Yoruba Nation. Yoruba Nation will won. God bless you, sir. And God bless you too, Shamsuddin. Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. One other story before we come home here in the UK. The Israeli army says 24 of its soldiers were killed in Gaza on Monday, the deadliest day for its forces since their ground operations began. That includes 21 reservists who died in an explosion likely caused by mines that Israeli forces had placed in 2 buildings to demolish them. The Israeli Defense Force has said it is thought a missile fired by the Palestinian army armed fighters hit a tank near the buildings. The IDF is investigating what happened. According to the Gaza Hamas-run health ministry, 195 Palestinians have been killed in the past day. Its spokesperson, Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari, said the reservists were killed in central Gaza at around 16 hours, that is 14 hours GMT yesterday, close to the kibbutz of Kisufim on the Israeli side of the border. He said they were involved in an operation to allow the residents of southern Israel to safely return to their homes after tens of thousands were evacuated after the Hamas attack on the 7th of October. Listeners, this is Starr Radio UK. This is the Tuesday edition of the morning show. Now let's come home. Let's come home. Let's come home. But somebody say home, but away. The US and UK have carried out a second joint operation against the Houthis in Yemen in response to their attacks on shipping in the Red Sea. The Foreign Secretary David Cameron says the UK and US wants to send the clearest possible message that their words will be supported by action. The Pentagon says Monday's strikes hit 8 targets, including an underground storage site and Houthi missile and surveillance capability. The Iran-backed Houthis have been targeting ships they say are linked to Israel and the West. They have reacted defiantly to the latest strike, calling the US and UK the guardian of Israel's destruction, and vowed to retaliate. Now, Iran's foreign minister says the country has warned the US that their airstrikes in Yemen are strategic mistakes. But in a statement coming from Ali Mubarak Houthi, he says, we're getting some reaction from Sana'a, Yemen, where people on the street have been speaking to Reuters. Salid Ahmed Ali says he's not scared by the latest strikes. We are steadfast and support Palestine from within our hearts. Now, Marood Muhammad Ali Mubarak compared the strikes to a spray of water for a thirsty person. I swear it will not scare us to turn a hair on our heads. Well, really interesting one there. Let me say good morning to my brother, Hinaba David. Yes. I hope you are doing well. And the kids, my love to Anne as well. Okay. Listen to Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, so pertaining to the war that is going on in Gaza as well, the information coming through says the videos of anti-Semitic speeches by Iranian generals given to UK students are being investigated by the Charity Commission. The regulator is also looking at footage of death to Israel chants at an Islamic charity UK's premises. Now, verified, 2 of the videos showed talks by members of Iran Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. One described an apocalyptic war on Jews. Now, the group that promoted the online talks said it respects all communities. The footage, which also includes a denial of Holocaust, adds to growing concerns from some MPs that the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps is attempting to radicalize UK Muslims. The security services have also warned it is inciting violence and plotting to kidnap or kill people on British soil. One of the most powerful paramilitary organizations in the Middle East, the IRGC, controls the Iranian government's foreign covert operations and support militant groups such as Hamas in Gaza, Hezbollah in Lebanon, and the Houthis in Yemen. The IRGC has previously been linked to kidnap and assassination plots in the UK. Counter-terror police confirmed in February last year that 15 such plots had come out of Iran since 2020. Well, the cautiousness is the way forward. You see something, say something, done. All right? Okay. Listen to Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, I remember what happened sometime last year. Prosecutors have accepted a plea of manslaughter on the basis of diminished responsibility from the man who stabbed 3 people in Nottingham. Now, students Barnaby Weber, Grace O'Malley, and O'Malley Coma, both 19, and school caretaker Ian Coates, 65, died after being attacked on the 13th of June. Valdo Valokane denied murder but admitted manslaughter in November. His pleas of not guilty to murder and guilty to manslaughter were accepted at the Nottingham Crown Court. They were accepted on the basis of diminished responsibility due to serious mental illness. The hearing was told. And Prosecutor Karim Khalil Casey said the families of the victims have been consulted before the prosecution decided to accept the pleas. At least the families have been consulted. So let's see what happens on that front. It's all coming your way from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, another story that is making the round before we come to the final one, and then I bring the program to a close, as I just say, because there's some upgrade work that's going to be going on this morning, exactly from 12 o'clock to prepare the grounds for BB Clement to come in at 1:30 as well. Mr. Francis Guy and his team are all ready to take over the reins. Okay, now 2 million people could have their gas and electricity cut off this winter because they cannot afford to top up their prepayment meter. A new research has suggested. Now, Citizens Advice has warned that having no gas and electricity will not be a one-off experience for many. It comes as a separate report suggests millions are living far below the poverty line in the UK. The government said it is spending billions on supporting households. The survey conducted on behalf of the Citizens Advice Charity found that in 2023, some 1.7 million people disconnected from their prepayment meters at least once a month. It also suggests that of those who were cut off, some 800,000 people went without gas and electricity for more than 24 hours because they could not afford to do or to top up, now leaving them unable to take a shower or make a hot meal. The analysis is based on responses from more than 4,300 adults across Britain, and the charity says it reflects what is seen on the ground. Citizens Advice is concerned that situations have become even more difficult this year as the energy price cap increased in January, making both gas and electricity more expensive during the colder months. As prepayment customers are unable to spread the cost of their energy payments throughout the year, it is more likely for customers to run out of credit and have supply knocked off during a colder batch. Listeners, this is all coming away from Starr Radio UK. One final story, and then I bring the whole program to a close for today. God willing, tomorrow we're gonna be back. But I remember that this afternoon, exactly 1:30, BB Clement will be coming your way. And remember, tomorrow morning or tomorrow dawn, exactly from 5:30 to 6:30, Reverend Michael Esiama, Mrs. Elo Mesiama, and Minister Emmanuel. They will be bringing you the Command Your Morning, the Power Hour. It comes away from Wednesdays to Saturdays, 5:30 to 6:30 a.m. Okay. Now, Storm Jocelyn was spread across most of the UK on Tuesday, a day after Storm Isha wreaked havoc and left at least 2 people dead. The rainfall is expected in Western Scotland, Northwest England, the Yorkshire Dales, and Northwest Wales, with flooding possible. Now, winds with gusts of 40 to 50 miles per hour across the UK by late afternoon. Now, from 19 hours GMT, and all ScotRail trains will be suspended from 19 hours GMT and will not restart on Wednesday morning. The train provider said each route will need to undergo a safety inspection before being able to operate due to risk of trees and other debris falling onto the track. The north and west of Scotland are in store for the strongest of the winds expected to reach 80 miles per hour. Transparent Express, which operates rail services between North England and Scotland, is strongly urging customers going to or from Edinburgh not to travel after 15 hours. Avanti West Coast last London-Glasgow service will depart at 15:30 and is expected to be extremely busy. The provider has advised passengers not to travel north of Preston after 15:30, adding that the service to and from Scotland will be cancelled until at least noon tomorrow. Now, in Northern Ireland, about 7,000 customers were still without electricity as of Tuesday morning. Now, elsewhere in the UK, Electricity Northwest said more than 50,000 homes had suffered a loss of power, with 2,000 yet to be restored. Jocelyn is the 10th named storm to hit the UK since September. The Met Office has issued the following severe weather warnings: an amber warning for wind across the whole of Scotland, Northern Ireland, and Northern Wales, and northwest of England; a yellow warning for wind for South Wales, Midlands, and Northeast England from 12 hours on Tuesday until 15 hours on Wednesday; a yellow warning for rain across Western Scotland from 07 hours until 18 hours on Tuesday; a yellow warning for rain across West England from 11 until 19 hours on Tuesday; the yellow warning for rain across part of Wales from 12:30 until 19 hours on Tuesday. Now, with most of the UK under yellow warning for wind, Met Office warns there will be possible disruption to travel and there could be more damage to buildings. There are also 15 flood warnings in places across Scotland, as well as 13 in England. But Jocelyn will not be as powerful as Monday's storm. So, keeping fingers and everything crossed and keeping safe wherever you might be is the guide word. So, wherever you are, let me say thank you very, very much for joining in today. This is where I bring the program to a close for today. But before I go away, let's take this commercial break, and then I will hand over to the technical team. But remember, as I did say, the BB Clement program will be coming your way live at 1:30 with BB Clement on BB Means Business. So thank you very much, and until I come your way tomorrow, it's me, Archie, saying have a wonderful day and bye-bye for now. Hey, Charlie, you're on your way to Ghana. Boy, oh boy, you stressed out, tired. Go, you're going to be resting. Okay, then let me recommend to you JN Mobile Spa in Accra, Ghana. Oh boy, JN Mobile Spa, they provide organic care in massage. Are you stressed? Do you need rejuvenated, etc.? For your facials, maybe exfoliating, firming, and lifting? Then contact JN Spa on 00233 244 941 002 or 00233 2006 06386, and they will be right there on time. JN Mobile Spa, your health and beauty needs at your doorstep.